The unseen work behind intimate bliss. What a topic! So I want to deconstruct every single word in this title because I actually was very careful in choosing the words. And I'm going to start with the end of the title, which is bliss. What is bliss to you? As you're thinking of it, let me tell you what I've seen in all the years that I've started to develop and also work with people. Bliss, for the majority of people, is the internal state that they go through when they're experiencing a physical orgasm, or even after having a physical orgasm. Now, for fewer people on this planet, bliss is also related to any positive and beautiful emotion that has gone as intense as reaching high peaks. So they can be very happy, they can be very in love, they can be very tender, they can be, very proud of having achieved something, or intense joy. It's also associated with blissful states. These are positive emotion taken to the extreme, taken to higher peaks, higher octaves. Basically exalted states of emotions. Personally, I resonate with both definitions, so you can have blissful states while you're having orgasms, and you can also experience bliss while experiencing peaks of positive emotions. So I think that's a beautiful life experience and a beautiful experience that we as humans can have. Now, when I refer to intimate bliss, I am talking about, a plethora of things. And I'm going to start with the most important one, and that is the intimate bliss that we experience with ourselves. Yes, we can have intimacy with our own selves, and your own intimacy can mean emotional intimacy, physical intimacy, obviously. Sometimes even spiritual intimacy, although that's, a little more exotic. But the idea is that in your own intimacy, I'm going to stay on topic here. What is the way that you relate to yourself sexually? That's got to be the $1 million question, right? What do you mean by that? How do I masturbate? Well, no, I'm not talking necessarily about that. I'm talking, how do you connect with your own sexuality purely for the sake of connecting with it, of feeling yourself, feeling your, level of evolution, how you feel in a certain moment. Have you grown? Have you developed something? What are you like sexually, just in relation to you? Now, that could mean, how do I talk about my own sexuality? How do I go about learning or developing? How do I go about expressing what I feel like, even if there's nobody else present? How do I go about just expressing to myself my sexual states? Those are the kinds of things that are actually your own intimate sexual relationship with yourself. Another way that you can experience intimate bliss is obviously with someone. And I'm going to refer here just to physical partners. So lovers, basically, whether you're long-term lovers or just, one-night stand, or short relationships, or somebody that you're thinking about, they're not necessarily, or you're in love with, and they don't necessarily have mutual feelings, or they don't feel exactly the same, but still, you can still have a type of intimate bliss, even if that person doesn't correspond in your feelings. And I know this can seem unusual, but it can happen. And that's in all cases. When you're experiencing intimate bliss with somebody, the first ingredient is for you to be okay with yourself, okay enough to open up to that person and to express what you feel, to show, to let it come out, to let it become alive, to let it live itself through you first and foremost. This can be strange, or this can be tough for some people, but it's a very beautiful place to be in. That's one way of saying I'm owning my sexuality. No matter what happens on the outside, whether my feelings are corresponded or not, I'm still expressing myself as I am. It's a very powerful place also. And obviously you can reach intimate bliss in a relationship with somebody who's responding in feelings in the same way and is engaged and committed to spending time with you. And that can look differently for many people. I'm going to share something with you. Whenever I work with somebody, so I coach people on sexuality, well, we experience a type of intimacy. No, it's not the sexual intimacy directly, because coaching is not having sex, but we are experiencing a level of physical intimacy because we spend time in the same room together, working on breath, on sound, on movement, on touches. How do you receive them? Are you okay with receiving touches, or are you okay with breathing, or are you okay with making sounds just to express your internal states? That's one kind of physical intimacy, and basically we can reach states of bliss because whenever we discover in that coaching process, when we discover something new, we learn something new, we notice something comes to the surface, something gets transformed. That's the most beautiful part about coaching around sexuality. You can transform states even if you're not in the presence of a lover. And in those moments when we see breakthrough, growth, learning, expansion, expression in some cases, or sensation, it's one way of experiencing a high emotional state, which is a positive one. It's filled with gratitude, with happiness. So it's a beautiful place to be in, basically. So yes, we can also get to intense or blissful intimacy, even if we're not spending time with lovers. Now, about the unseen work. So the first part of this title, the unseen work behind intimate bliss. What exactly is that unseen work? In some cases, it can begin with intention. I'm serious here. The intention is something purely personal, and it's something that comes from within you. The work that you do to reach that intention is definitely yours, and it's not seen to the outside. And this is something that everybody in their path gets to do at a certain point, whether they're conscious or not. And it begins with very simple questions. What do I want for my sexuality? What do I want in this interaction with this person? What do I want in the relationship with this person? Or what do I want for my entire sexual life? As long as I'm active, what do I want to express? These are very strategic questions, I might say. And some people ask themselves this. Now, it may sound unusual, like the majority of people may think that I just want to have fun, I want to feel good. Well, other people start to ask more and question more and interrogate more about their lives, and this usually leads them to growth. Another kind of unseen work is simply relating to other people, not necessarily engaging in sex, but relating to other people around sexual development. Now, this can mean going to events, going to documentaries where it's also a discussion there, going to various communities or groups or workshops, trainings, retreats. So basically, another part of the unseen work that we do behind intimate bliss is actually putting ourselves in situations or in contexts or in a relation to other people where we can grow, where we can learn, where we can expand, where we can achieve a breakthrough that we want, or simply overcome an obstacle. Another one is simply when we decide to show ourselves in a different light to people around us. Now, I'm not talking necessarily about lovers. It can mean a very special friend, or simply people that we meet in various places where we spontaneously get into a discussion around intimacy or even sexuality. It's rare, but this is also an act of courage for most people. Yet those who who take this bold step and open up and share something about themselves. The first reward is that by the end of that discussion, interaction, exposure, they get to realize that, you know what, it wasn't so bad. Like, it's not so bad to talk about this, to open up about this. It's very human. And you become more accustomed to this. It feels more natural. Another benefit, obviously, is that when you do this, so present yourself, show yourself in the future, you tend to do it much easier. And that's a gift in and of itself, I guess, and everybody wants that. It's part of this ease and relaxation around sexuality is something that, you know, it's conducive to intimate bliss for sure. One last way in which we can do unseen work, and this is very unseen, is whenever we experience a blockage. Whenever we go through some sort of pain or heartbreak or turmoil or any uncomfortable situation, and we're alone in that, one type of unseen work is to simply do nothing. Just stay with those states, stay in those moments, in those emotions, and in those physical sensations, which can be very uncomfortable for many people. And simply waiting for you to get a different understanding, get a resolution from that, simply get some sort of insight that will help you break through that situation or that pain or that state of discomfort. And you could say that this is pretty sadist in a way, or masochist actually, but I would say that it's very courageous, because basically you're staying in the most uncomfortable place on your own. No, you're not complaining to anybody, you're not asking for help, and it doesn't mean that you're playing the hero. It just means that you're simply staying there until something gives. And usually something does give, and you get, again, an insight, an idea. You simply transform that state simply by being with it. And this is one of the most difficult ways to do unseen work. So the benefits are that you dismantle that situation and it loses its grip over you in the future, and you're more relaxed, you've broken through something, you've opened yourself, and you're, you know, a better lover for it. Better lover for yourself, better lover for somebody else. So this is my take on the unseen work for intimate bliss. Now, I'm curious what this seems to you, or I'm curious what you think of this, what your experience is with this. So do ask me questions. I love to read your comments and I love to answer them. And I also want to invite you to take in a step further and do one-on-one coaching with me if you want to transform something for your life, if you want to expand or learn something new. Coaching around this subject, I find, is a very strategic way to do unseen work, to get you to break through, to get you to blissful states, to get you to being more open in your own life. And also, if you, for whatever reason, don't feel like doing one-on-one coaching, then I have another invitation for you. I have a Facebook group where I'm slowly gathering people who are open to sexuality and growth in this area. People who share states, share intentions or searches of their own, people who answer to other people. So this is a place where we give one another support. So if that resonates with you better, then I'll wait for you on the other side. I will put a link to that group under the video. And otherwise, I'm looking forward to seeing you next week with more juicy topics. And until then, I hope that you have an orgasmic summer and orgasmic intimate life.